Joining us now to react to this gruesome murder, Maryland Governor Wes Moore. Governor, I want to talk to you about the bridge. I want to talk to you about what you're doing with marijuana pardons. But I got to start here. When a murder happens in Maryland and you find out that Victor Hernandez didn't even belong here to begin with a horrible record in El Salvador, and it brings that to America. Your thoughts?
I'm infuriated, and our state is still mourning. I mean, this is a mother of five, someone who had her life ahead of her, many celebrations with her family ahead of her, and her life was cut short. And when people think about the border crisis and they think that this is only impacting a handful of states, Harford County in our state, where this brutal murder happened, is 1,800 miles away from the border. And so when people think this is only impacting a few states, this is impacting every single one of us. This inaction that we continue to see to get any form of sensible immigration policy done is impacting all of us, because all of us in local jurisdictions deal with the consequences of this.
So, Governor, I saw you on Sunday, and you said, well, if the Republicans only didn't get in the way of that bipartisan legislation, things like this wouldn't happen. But when you see Victor Hernandez, he was stopped in El Paso, rejected. He was stopped in New Mexico twice, rejected. The third time he came through as a getaway, he got through. So these criminals were able to get through. We got 7.4 million. Even if that legislation had passed as is, 4,000 are let through annually. It wouldn't have even kicked into 270 days. So would you say the legislation not passing or passing is a bit of a reach, doesn't even apply here?
No, and I don't think this is partisan either. I don't put the blame on a singular political party, because the truth is that many of the anchors of the bill were Republicans. I mean, Senator Langford was one of the authors and was one of the champions of this bill.
Nothing to do with this.
So this was, well, no, but my point is, we're not talking about a singular bill. We're talking about something that has been broken for a very long time. This is not just about this Congress. This is not just about this group of legislators.
But no one's been worse at the border than the president. He's got this current president. No one's been worse than him. You have to agree with that.
This thing is so long-standing, and there's been a lack of courage that we have seen for a long period of time in Washington that has allowed this to take place. That's allowed our states to then, and the people of our states who we protect, and there's nothing I take more seriously than public safety, but they're allowing people in my state to become victims because of a long-standing inaction that we continue to see across Congress, and we've got to move on this.
Okay, let's talk about something you have moved on. Governor Moore, you're issuing pardons for 175,000 people who have been convicted of marijuana in some way, shape, or form. You pointed out to me, it's not so much people that are in prison, but it's on their records. You're going to expunge it.
Yes. Yes. What happened is, this is the largest mass pardon that we have seen of cannabis convictions in the history of this country. Over 175,000 marijuana convictions were just pardoned, because you now have a burgeoning industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry in this country, a legalized industry in my state of Maryland, and I have people who still cannot go to school, who cannot get jobs, who can't get home loans. I had one person with me the day I signed that pardon, a guy named Shiloh, who received a gubernatorial pardon from me that day. This is a person who has, the only thing on his record is a misdemeanor marijuana conviction, and he has not been able to find consistent employment. He got a job, was fired on the second day of the job because he couldn't pass a background check. This is not fair. And so really this is about, how do we focus on actually righting wrongs of having something that was so disproportionately impacted communities, and at the same time allowing people to enter back into the economy. We've got to get our economy going, and that means getting more people to participate.
And I got to give you credit on something unrelated, and that's the bridge. It was a disaster. It had nothing to do with you. We're still trying to find out exactly what happened. The bridge collapses. Waterways are going to be stopped. Commerce is going to be crushed. And you have managed to knock out bureaucracy, forget about partisanship, show up every day, and make sure that waterway's clean. When can we see the bridge rebuilt?
I want that bridge built ASAP, because the bridge is a core artery for the health of the Port of Baltimore. And that first morning, I gave 4 directives. We need to give closure and comfort to the families of these 6 Marylanders we lost. We need to reopen the federal channel. And they told us it could take up to 11 months. And instead of 11 months, we got that federal channel done in 11 weeks. That we need to be able to support the thousands of port workers and the first responders and their families who we knew will be directly impacted. And we've got to get the Francis Scott Key Bridge rebuilt. And so we're really proud that in record time got those first 3 objectives done, have been able to support the workers, but we've got to get this bridge rebuilt.
So a Republican told me, they said when this bridge collapsed, he goes, this is going to be a test for Governor Moore, because people think he's going to be presidential material. And if he can get this done quickly, this would be a great launching pad for him. So far, you're doing it. And that's why people are floating your name as a possible President Biden replacement should the wheels come off come the August convention. Your reaction?
I'm full-throated in my support of President Biden because I know so much of the momentum that we've been able to see in the state of Maryland. You know, when I was first inaugurated, we were 43rd in unemployment. Now we have amongst the lowest unemployment rates in the entire country. That we've been able to slash the homicide rates and the violent crime rates in the state of Maryland, where Baltimore now is the fastest drop of homicides of almost any major American city in this country. We've done it because we've moved bipartisan. We've done it because we've moved and built bridges. We've done it in partnership with the Biden administration, and I'm excited for another 4 years to have a chance to work with President Biden.
What about if your name was offered as a possible replacement? Should there something happen at the convention? How would you feel about that? Do you think you're ready?
I think that President Biden is not just the nominee. President Biden is the best candidate for the presidency, and it's the reason I'm supporting him, and the reason that I look forward to engaging all throughout the campaign season to get him reelected.
I know the number you just talked about, crime going down. That's a good thing in Baltimore. It's got a long way to go, anyone who's been through there, and I think you know it. But what do your constituents say about the state of the economy in this country?
Yeah. Well, I think people see also that they are linked. This drop in violent crime, this increase in public safety that we've seen in Baltimore, also is directly correlated to economic growth. And I said we have got to get our economy moving. For the 5 years before I was governor, Maryland's economy grew by 0.2%. The average state has grown by 7.5%. So that means actually working to make Maryland a more hospitable business environment, being able to create more supports for our entrepreneurs, and also things like investing in trade programs and apprenticeship programs, because everybody does not need a 4-year college degree in order to be economically successful. So these two things work together, and it's working in Maryland because we're working in a bipartisan fashion to get it done. And
you gave me 20 seconds to end. Thanks so much, Governor Moore, Governor Wes Moore, for your time. Appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.